The Book of Zechariah. Have you ever had a dream so vivid, so strange and symbolic that you knew it meant something important when you woke up? The Book of Zechariah feels a lot like that. If you picture the Old Testament as a long library, you'll find Zechariah on a shelf near the very end, the second to last book in the collection of shorter prophetic works. Its placement is significant. It's one of the final voices speaking to Israel after a period of national trauma, acting as a crucial bridge between their fractured past and a future they can barely imagine. It's a book about what comes after the disaster. The book speaks through a series of stunning, almost surreal visions traditionally associated with a prophet named Zechariah. But this isn't a straightforward historical account. It's more like guided tours through a divine art gallery at night, where each image is loaded with meaning, designed to challenge, comfort, and inspire. To understand these visions, you have to know where the people are standing. They are finally home. After generations of forced exile in Babylon, the Israelites have returned to Jerusalem.
But home is a pile of rubble. Their glorious temple is gone. Their walls are broken down. They face the monumental task of not just rebuilding a city, but rediscovering their very identity as a people. Hope is in short supply. The book unfolds in two very different movements. The first 8 chapters describe a sequence of cinematic visions that came in a single night. We see 4 horsemen acting as divine scouts, reporting on the state of the world. We see a measuring line promising that Jerusalem will one day be so full it can't be contained by walls. We see the high priest, representing the whole nation, getting a spiritual makeover, his dirty clothes swapped for clean ones, a symbol of forgiveness and a fresh start. All of it is meant to encourage the people. Get to work. God is with you. Then the book shifts gears dramatically. The second half jumps far into the future, with 2 collections of poetry and prophecy.
The tone changes, speaking of cosmic battles, the failures of leadership, and the ultimate dramatic intervention of God to establish his kingdom on earth. 3 powerful ideas pulse through the entire book. The first is simply this: God remembers. In fact, that's what the name Zechariah means, and it's the core message of hope for a people who felt completely forgotten. Second, the book calls for genuine renewal. It insists that rebuilding the temple is pointless if the people don't also rebuild their hearts with justice and integrity. It's not about empty religious rituals, it's about how you treat your neighbor. And third, it offers the promise of a different kind of king. Zechariah gives us one of the Bible's most memorable portraits of this future leader. Not a conquering warrior on a war horse, but a humble king, arriving to bring peace while riding on a donkey. And that single image is why Zechariah serves as such a vital link in the overarching biblical story. Hundreds of years later, when the New Testament writers describe Jesus' entry into Jerusalem, they point directly back to this prophecy. The book plants these powerful seeds, images of a wounded shepherd, a fountain that washes away sin, and a peaceful kingdom that become foundational for understanding the story of Jesus. In the end, Zechariah is a whirlwind of strange visions and powerful poetry. It's a message for a discouraged people, urging them to look up from the rubble at their feet and see the beautiful future God is promising to build. It's a challenge to not just rebuild walls, but to build a world of justice and peace, all while keeping watch for a king who rules not with force, but with humility.
Thank you for watching.